sunshine, pour your sweetness over me. Pour your sweetness over me. No
more will my green seagull turn a deeper blue. I could not foresee this thing happening to you.
And if I catch it coming back my way, I'm gonna sell it to you. I need much of water here, but that's what I'll do.
Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Pour your sugar on it, oh yeah.
You know I'm such a fool for you.
If I look hard enough into the setting sun,
Words are gonna bleed from me, and I will think no more.
Try to make some sense of it all, but I can see it makes no sense at all. Pour your sugar on it, baby.
You got me wrapped around your finger.
I see a red door and I want it painted black.
Do you have to let it linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger?
And the stains coming from my blood, gonna go no more.
Oh, I wanna see the sun blotted out from the sky.
'Cause I don't think that I can take anymore. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
You got me wrapped around your finger.
Saying,
This is my message to you.
pour your sugar on me, honey. Ah, sugar. Honey, honey. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
Words are gonna bleed from me, and I will think no more.
Try to make some sense of it all, but I can see it makes no sense at all. Pour your sugar on it, baby. Yeah.
I see a red door and I want it painted black.
'Cause I don't think that I can take anymore. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you.
I wanna see a faded, 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 faded black.
Smile with the rising sun.
I wanna see a faded, faded black, black of night.
Pour your sugar on me, honey. Ah, sugar. Honey, honey. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, stuck in the middle with you. Pour your sugar on it, oh yeah.
If I look hard enough into the setting sun,
Words are gonna bleed from me, and I will think no more.
Try to make some sense of it all, but I can see it makes no sense at all.
State lawmakers believe some aircraft are dumping chemicals in the sky to try to manipulate the weather.
While a federal weather agency says it's doing no such thing, a bill is making its way through the legislature aimed at ending so-called chemtrails. Andres Fuentes reports.
Ponchatoula State Representative Kimberly Landry Coates defended a Senate bill aimed at a problem she says is growing across the state.
Your bill would prohibit the intentional release of dispersion of these chemicals that you're talking about. And you said it's to control the weather? Is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Coates says the bill prevents the white straight lines in the sky left behind by aircrafts. The Environmental Protection Agency says jet aircraft do form what's called contrails under certain atmospheric conditions, like when a jet's heat meets the cold atmosphere. It's the same reason that we can see our breath on a cold day. But Coates and other lawmakers call the lines chemtrails. She claims the lines are made of nanochemicals that change the weather.
Other than the nanoparticles of aluminum, what else have you found?
Barium, and there's some long words that I can't pronounce.
On the House floor, Coates claimed that the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration sends chemicals into clouds to reflect sunlight in an effort to make the Earth's surface cooler. NOAA says it does not conduct weather modification experiments and has no plans to do so. Coates also believes other agencies are involved in the so-called chemtrail conspiracy theory across Louisiana.
Who is doing this?
There's multiple people, multiple groups, contractors.
Who are the contracts with?
I've seen the documents with at least 9 federal agencies.
We reached out to Coates for clarification on her claims, but have not heard back. One of those claims is that she sees the lines in the sky regularly.
Once a week?
At least, yes. From my house all the way to the Capitol. So when you look up in the air, you watch for the big white lines across the sky.
And so I just need to look up. I probably haven't been looking up.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI, a method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that can help reflect the sun's heat in much the same way that volcanic eruptions do. An SAI program could limit global temperature increases, reducing some risks associated with higher temperatures and providing the world economy additional time to transition from fossil fuels. This process is also relatively inexpensive. The National Research Council estimates that a fully deployed SAI program would cost about $10 billion yearly. As promising as it may be, moving forward on SAI would also raise a number of challenges for our government and for the international community. On the technical side, greenhouse gas emission reductions would still have to accompany SAI to address other climate change effects, such as ocean acidification, because SAI alone would not remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. On the geopolitical side, the technology's potential to alter weather patterns and benefit certain regions of the world at the expense of other regions could trigger sharp opposition by some nations. Others might seize on SAI's benefits and back away from their commitment to carbon dioxide reductions.
We have hail. It's 47 degrees out. Just down there past those silos, it was 85 degrees. We got hail fog because the ground is so cold. And lightning and a supercellular thunderstorm. Look at this, guys. This is crazy.
Guys, this is freaking massive. Shanahan just dropped a highly sourced bombshell report on X just now, exposing secret engineering programs that are actively altering all of our airspace. Based on whistleblower testimony from a federal consultant tied to the DoD, NOAA, DOE, and intelligence agencies, Shanahan revealed that these programs never ended. They were just rebranded. The whistleblower revealed that these terms were deliberately crafted to dodge Freedom of Information Act requests and media scrutiny. Despite the president's 2020 order to halt funding, federal grants still flow to entities like the University Corporation for Atmospheric Research, which has received hundreds of millions of dollars. Their own site even confirms ongoing involvement in aerosol placement, seeding, radiation modification. She also referenced the radiation modification report that confirms that NOAA, NASA, and the DOE are not only involved, They're expanding operations. For instance, NOAA is currently funding 4 active SRM projects, and NASA provides the aircraft capable of flying 12 hours at 41,000 feet, dispersing payloads over 30,000 pounds. Nicole also sourced 1960s hearings held by Congress on control and referenced that by 1979, nearly 100 federal modification programs were already underway. She also sourced a Bill Gates fund run by David Keith and their bankrolling of aerosol experiments, despite Keith admitting the tech could cause 10,000 premature deaths per year. Her report basically consolidates everything we've already known and confirms that this is the largest unauthorized environmental experiment in human history.
President Trump backing away from abolishing FEMA as Trump heads to Texas Friday after a catastrophic flooding that left more than 100 people dead and 170 people missing. The Washington Post reports that the White House is backing away from abolishing FEMA.
Meanwhile, President Trump's Environmental Protection Agency head Lee Zeldin launched 2 new resources to deliver total transparency for Americans curious about geoengineering and contrails. Here is Lee Zeldin speaking about the newly launched program. Let's watch.
Concerned Americans have urgent and important questions about geoengineering and contrails. The American public deserves and expects honesty and transparency from their government when seeking answers. But for years, people who asked questions in good faith were dismissed, even vilified by the media and their own government. That era is over. The Trump EPA is committed to total transparency.
Democrat Representative Don Beyer of Northern Virginia blasted the effort, writing on X, quote, "The Trump administration breaks new ground, finding stupid ways to elevate kooks and loons every day. This is genuinely insane."
Here is Fox News host Will Cain speaking with Rainmaker Tech Corporation CEO Augustus Dorico, who came under fire for his cloud seeding mission in south central Texas just 2 days prior to July 4th flooding.
Are you messing with things that you shouldn't be messing with when it comes to the weather?
I get this question all the time, and I totally think it makes sense to ask it. My intention is to serve God. I think that in Genesis 1:26 through 28, and then throughout the Psalms and the rest of the Bible, God tells us to take dominion over and steward creation, both for our sake, creation's itself, and then to honor him. And so if there are droughts and we have the tools to mitigate the damage done by them for our sake and for nature itself,
I get why this whole thing is controversial, right? People are saying that the Environmental Protection Agency is giving life to potential conspiracy theories and a whirlwind of conversations coming up around these topics. But then, supporters are saying, like, if you ignore people and their complaints and want to know what these things are falling out of the plane, that white smoke that you see, and like what's happening to our environment, people who in this interview that we just saw are they're saying taking the place of God to let weather occur naturally, or by whatever we do in our society. This is like a lot of conversation around it, but I don't think we should have less conversation or dismiss people that have questions.
Exactly. I appreciate that the administration is taking people's concerns seriously and saying, hey, look, this is what you need to know if this is something you're worried about. And the EPA page that we're talking about here on the contrails and geoengineering has been praised by a lot of scientists. Dustin Tingley, a public policy professor at Harvard, described it as rather thoughtful, saying the EPA did a responsible job of taking the concerns that people might genuinely have and providing easy to understand explanations. Columbia University climate economist Gernot Wagner said the web pages published are accurate and said it doesn't seem to get it wrong. So I think it's a better move to tell Americans, look, we hear you and we're going to show you all of the information that we have about these issues, and you can come up with your own decision based on what you read. As opposed to just calling people conspiracy theorists or stupid or backwards. That's obviously an unhelpful thing that causes people to retrench further into those conspiracies rather than helping to inform them.
Make them care about these things, because I think overall the world is going to move forward with the climate that's changing around the globe, with or without the U.S. And so the more that we can get Americans on board to have the dialogue and make it an open forum without, condescending people, the better off we'll be to make everybody on board for a better America and a better world for our children.
Yeah, and I think at this point most people understand that the climate is changing, but the questions that remain are how much does human behavior impact that?
Right.
What realistically can we change, and how much will it cost to do that in order to cause an incremental change in the environment? And then they also feel misled by climate catastrophism, which has made a lot of really aggressive predictions about what's going to happen from climate change, which over the years haven't really borne true. And so they feel very misled, like they've been lied to in service of a political agenda. And I think that's caused a lot of mistrust about the conversations we have related to climate change.
Trump is the best thing happened ever to us, that he is the magician of the highest order, that he is there in his irrational mind to create confusion in order that the human being can find new order. And you know, it's not so stupid thinking about this in that way. It's completely turning things upside down.
Casting spells on her audience. She is harvesting your energy at this very point. I also called her out for using Masonic imagery, which isn't surprising because many artists who are represented or managed by the CIA show this kind of symbolism. Some say symbolism will be their downfall, but I don't know. So many people don't see it. I also pointed out that I found it interesting that Kesha has the all-seeing eye in one hand and Saturn in the other, as many artists do, like Adele, Miley Cyrus, and Katy Perry, which led me down a deep rabbit hole of the Roman god Saturn and Saturn worship, who is also linked to the creation of the underworld. Now, what I found interesting is it talks about a mythical golden age where Saturn ruled, and it was a time of inversion and revelry. It involved a temporary suspension of social order, including gift-giving, feasting, and the relaxation of moral constraints. Now, where have I heard the term golden age before?
Approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else.
I feel like it couldn't be any more obvious at this point.
Rainmaker CEO has spoken out after backlash regarding his seeding operations conducted just 2 days prior to the Texas flooding. I'll play this in a second, but I just want to say that I personally think he is a small-time player. He's new to the scene and only making headlines due to his podcast appearances recently. He markets himself. The big dogs stay quiet, as they have for decades. Rainmaker's a new company and nowhere near as active or as widespread as the much bigger companies at play, such as WMI, NAWC, and SOAR. Plus, his operation's not exactly the same as the main trails we see overhead. Those trails are from the biggest dogs in the land.
Basically, everything you think is real isn't at all. Zero. This is the Matrix. And not many people can see it. It's amazing. But it's incredible too. Like, the people that are doing all these things, it's always the same people. Like, Kill Gates has been trying to block out the sun. He's doing all these things, chemtrails and all this to block out the sun. And Peter Thiel's been invested in a company called Rainmaker. For all the people who are like, they can't control the weather. Well, here's one of Peter Thiel's investments.
The drones that we've built are the only ones in NATO that are under 55 pounds that can survive in severe icing conditions. This is really cold water, right? So we have these resistors inlaid onto the vehicle that melt the ice off as it accretes onto the drone. So you find the water with the radar, you fly your drone up into these conditions, hope that it survives. You disperse the material. So we have this aerosol dispersion system that basically just emits individual particles that the water freezes onto. And then with the same radar you found the water with, you can now see it freezing, growing into bigger snowflakes, and then eventually bigger drops, and measure how much precipitates downwind.
So you're essentially introducing some type of an agent that has weight to it, and that's pulling the water down.
You're introducing an agent that the water freezes onto, and then it's just the weight of the water that pulls it down. So for every pound of this that you put up, you get in excess of 40 million pounds down on the ground. 40 million pounds of water.
40 million. Wow.
Yeah.
How many drones does it take to do this?
Like 3.
That's it?
So what we do is we juggle them. So one drone will go up. Once that reaches altitude, the next drone will go up. The first drone, after dispersing its full payload, will come down. And you'll just cycle that as long as the conditions persist. So sometimes that means, you're out there for 2 hours. Our forward operations specialists, though, it's a lot of former vets, National Forest Service guys, oil roughnecks, people that are willing just to live out on a mountain for 9 months at a time. Speaking of which, apply to rainmaker.com/careers to become a forward operations specialist, because we need like 50 dudes in the next 3 months.
Oh yeah, and they're hiring, like you said.
They're hiring like crazy. Oh, that's good. Maybe they're going to do this whole worldwide flood thing, because according to him, it takes 1 pound of this mystery substance, which he doesn't say what it is, and it makes 40 million pounds of rain fall out of the sky.
It's time now for Truth or Fake. Vedika Patel is over by the big board. Good evening to you, Vedika. Today then, talking about a conspiracy theory that's now reached all levels of the White House, chemtrails. Vedika, tell me what they are, because I don't know, and tell us what's going on.
Well, Mark, the US Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has pledged that the US will fight chemtrails. Now, this is an unsubstantiated conspiracy theory that's been around for decades, but it's been consistently debunked by scientists as completely baseless. So the chemtrails conspiracy theory is the belief that these long-lasting condensation trails that we see in the skies left by aircraft, that they are in fact toxic chemical trails that are seeding the skies for weather modification, biological warfare in order to poison us, or even to control people's minds in some of the extreme believers' cases. Now, believers question the existence of these chemtrails and the inconsistencies of them. They ask why they're not always there, why is it only some planes that produce them, or why do they come and then disappear, essentially. Now, in reality, let's talk the science behind them. Well, the scientific basis behind these are not chemtrails at all. They are in fact contrails, in other words, condensation trails. They are essentially just temporary plane-created clouds, and they're made up of water vapor, and they take place when the hot jet fuel exhaust, which is mainly water vapor with some soot particles, when that mixes with the colder air at high altitudes, this creates ice crystals that then form these trail-like clouds, and these dissipate based on the weather conditions of the region that they're taking place in, of the day. There's many different regions. Now, this isn't to say that weather modification is entirely false as a concept. We know that cloud seeding exists to induce rain in dry areas, but this is on a very, very small scale worldwide. But overall, Mark, according to a 2017 study, around 10% of Americans fully believe in this chemtrails conspiracy theory.
And that is scary, isn't it? So how has this gone from conspiracy theory to actual US legislation?
Well, just recently, RFK Jr. appeared in an interview on the US television show Dr. Phil, and he said he'd do everything in his power to stop the emissions, and he appeared to blame chemtrails, the existence of them, on another government agency. When he was asked about chemicals being sprayed in the sky and what he'd do about it, he took the question seriously. Let's take a very quick listen to what he said.
That is not happening in my agency. You know, we don't do that. It's done, we think, by DARPA. And a lot of it now is coming out of the jet fuel. Yes, so, you know, those materials are put in jet fuel. I'm going to do everything in my power to stop it. We're bringing on somebody who's going to think
now,
only
when he
about
says we think it's done by DARPA, what he's referring to is the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which is a part of the US Department of Defense. Now, this isn't the first time he's publicly endorsed this. He has previously replied to chemtrails fanatics on X, saying we are going to stop this crime. But more recently, just a month ago, he replied to this person, this believer in the theory, who was pushing for bills in the US to ban atmospheric geoengineering. And what that is, it is a new field of science where scientists are trying to find ways to fight the consequences of fossil fuel pollution that we as humans are creating. Now, Kennedy essentially said that 24 states are moving to ban geoengineering, and the Health and Human Services is going to do its part. Well, what we know about that is that Tennessee has already banned this, the release of airborne chemicals in geoengineering, the chemtrails bill. Florida is also moving along that bill forward, and this February, Alabama is also launched that discussion. They're having those talks at the moment. So we can see the escalation of this conspiracy theory throughout all levels of the US government. And as we've said, there's zero scientific basis for this, Mark. So we will have to see how this develops. But should US states move to ban geoengineering, it is in its infancy, but this could have problematic consequences for looking for ways to fight the climate change and the effects of pollution that we as humans are causing here on Earth.
Bill Hicks had it totally right about the U.S.
Go back to bed, America. Your government has figured out how it all transpired. Go back to bed, America. Your government is in control again. Here's American Gladiators. Watch this. Shut up. Go back to bed, America. Here is American Gladiators. Here is 56 channels of it. watch these pituitary retards bang their fucking skulls together and congratulate you on living in the land of freedom. Here you go, America. You are free to do as we tell you. You are free to do as we tell you.
Oh, good. Honey, I heard on the news that they figured out that the gun, what happened is that there is an echo, and that Kennedy was asking Jackie what it was, and that's why his head flew up. Honey, what time's Gladiators on?
It's almost like a religion of thought.
Leave shadows on the clouds.
Look to the heavens, lines in the sky that captivate conspiracy theorists. Chemtrails, followers convinced something evil and secret is going on.
See, and look it. It's got that pattern.
They believe the government or some shadow organization deliberately sprays chemicals to control our minds or to alter the weather.
Okay, I can hear you now. Why are we wasting time on this? Social media has become fertilizer for this conspiracy. Recent surveys indicate 1 in 5 Americans believe in this theory. Now, science is just starting to confront it. So, what are the facts? Let's verify with our experts.
Dr. Jeffrey Forrest, Chair of Aviation and Aerospace Science at Metro State in Denver. Dr. Ken Caldera, atmospheric scientist and professor at Stanford. These are not government agents. They are scientists. That's verified. But first, Chris Zadnik of Denver. He's a believer.
So I could see a line in the sky.
Yes,
right
two
up
of
there
them.
right
Yes.
now. So what do you think is going on up there right now?
They do tend to put them in front of the sun, which makes sense if they're trying to block sunlight.
What would you say is your strongest piece of evidence proving that chemtrails are real?
I think, I honestly, it might seem a little bit crazy that I literally have almost 400 videos.
1, 2, 3. X means death.
What do you think is going on up there?
So, well, what they say is that this is sort of a desperate measure to counteract global warming.
Zadnik is quick to say he doesn't trust the government. Can you blame the guy? After all, our government doesn't really have the greatest track record when it comes to telling the truth. Agent Orange, the Tuskegee syphilis study, the human plutonium injection experiments. I can go on and on. That's the government. But what about science? Way back, this is a tight fit.
Okay, pilots and scientists are uncomfortable talking about chemtrails.
What is that white line in the sky behind a plane?
Well, the white line behind a jet is a natural process that goes on with the relationship between the aerodynamics of the aircraft and the atmosphere.
They won't even say that word. Scientifically, they're called condensation trails. Contrails for short.
So what you're really doing is you're sort of artificially generating a cloud.
It's like a long white cloud. That's essentially what it is.
That's right.
As jet fuel burns, it produces mostly water vapor. Picture my mouth like a jet engine. I know that sounds weird, but as I exhale, my breath contains a lot of water, so we'll see something like a cloud. Sounds simple, right? Let's get scientific.
Jet fuel is mostly kerosene, a hydrocarbon. When planes burn jet fuel, they produce exhaust. That exhaust is mostly hot water vapor. That also contains carbon dioxide, trace amounts of sulfur, nitrogen, microscopic metal particles, and carbon. The water vapor molecules latch onto the particles like carbon, allowing the water in its gas form to collect into floating bits of liquid, or, because it's so cold, tiny ice crystals. That's condensation, when water vapor becomes a liquid or ice. And so you get a cloud, especially when the humidity and air temperature are just right. The higher level of humidity in the sky, the longer the water remains condensed. When humidity is really high, the trails look like a long cloud, which is why contrails appear in the sky for a while. Winds can make them expand.
That is also, I think, part of the fear factor that some people hook themselves into, because they see a contrail being formed and then hours later it's still there, and sometimes it's growing.
So what we see up there is not the government intentionally putting chemicals into the sky for geoengineering.
No.
I don't know why people, they have a scientific or technical question, and instead of going to the scientists, they'll find some crazy website and believe what the crazy website says.
Perhaps the most convincing and highly cited scientific evidence comes to us from this study conducted by atmospheric scientist Dr. Caldera. Out of 77 top atmospheric scientists across the globe, 98.7% of them categorically rejected the existence of a secret spraying program. That one holdout was a guy in Alaska.
He didn't think, oh, that means there must be a secret government spraying program. He's saying, oh, look, once I got a sample and there was stuff in it that I couldn't explain.
There's no accepted scientific evidence whatsoever that proves a covert program is real.
I really desperately want it to not be true.
Based on our highly credible experts and scientific approach to chemtrails, we can verify the chemtrail conspiracy is false.
Tonight's Fact or Fiction is brought to you by America's Finest Carpet.
Tonight, we're looking into a story you may have heard. It claims lawmakers in Louisiana have passed a bill banning chemtrails, which don't exist. And it's true. Chemtrails is the term for a conspiracy theory that claims the white lines left behind on aircraft are actually the intentional release of chemicals into the atmosphere. In reality, it's just condensed water vapor made by the exhaust of aircraft engines. But Louisiana lawmakers have sent a bill to the governor banning releasing chemicals into the atmosphere to affect the weather or climate. A similar measure is already law in Tennessee, and it's on the table in more than a dozen other states. Scientists and federal agencies all agree chemtrails don't exist.
If you're out there and you're a conspiracy theorist, I'll tell you, there's 13 states that are flooding just this week, right? Texas, North Carolina, New Mexico, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Illinois, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Iowa, and Maryland. Yesterday, or the day before, an Oklahoma flash flood. Yesterday in New Mexico, 20-foot flood wave. Look at this. Oh my God. Joe Dan tweets this out. Do I understand this correctly? Over the past 4 days, we've had massive flash floods in Texas, New Mexico, Chicago, North Carolina, Oklahoma, and Arkansas. And most are in the form of flash floods. Look at this right here. New Mexico. This was, the river rose 20 feet in 30 minutes, right? How much did it rain in 1932 in Kerr, Texas, to let the Guadalupe River swell up 39 feet?
In 1932, Kerr County, Texas saw about 35 inches of rain over 36 hours from June 30th to July 2.
How many inches of rain did they get in Kerr, Texas on July 4th, 2025, causing the river to swell 37 feet?
On July 4th, 2025, Kerr County, Texas got between 5 and 11 inches of rain in a short burst, causing the Guadalupe River to swell to 37.52 feet at Hunt.
So you got one, right, that's starting at 35 inches in 1932, a 100-year storm. Here we are 90 years later, and we have the same amount of watercrest with 5 to 11 inches. And everybody out there is saying, well, of course, because it was dry. Okay, I'm just saying, don't you see why the whole world thinks this is suspicious, right?
Again, we've come full circle all the way around from we need to release the list to there is no list to the list is on my desk to now this is just all fake and made up by the Obama administration. Again, if you are or have been involved with supporting this madman or MAGA in general, you might want to think again. Now might be a good time to realize the error in your ways and the fact that voting does nothing. It's all controlled, and I hope this proves it for you.
Answering questions for the first time about his friendship with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't know Prince Andrew, but it's a tough story.
Trump has been photographed with Prince Andrew as far back as the year 2000.
Ghislaine Maxwell is accused of helping Epstein sexually abuse underage girls.
I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well.
You know about sexual predators and things like that. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that.
But now, if you bring it up, you're just you're such a bad person for even bringing it up. It's all there's nothing. There's nothing to it. The Epstein list never existed. Yes, my queen. And still, not one single person who paid to rape children on Epstein's island has been arrested. And that definitely includes Prince Andrew, who feels free to travel abroad now that the FBI under Trump has dropped his probes into Jeffrey Epstein's ties. Yeah, all a totisos. I feel a little bit bad for all these maggots because they were told one thing and they're definitely not given any of it. Number of arrests for the Russian collusion hoax, 0. January 6th, 0. Mar-a-Lago raid, 0. Biden auto pen, 0. 2020 election, selection, 0. Epstein pedophile arrest, 0. COVIDs, 0. Benghazi, 0. Doge findings, 0. Ukraine impeachment hoax, 0.
0.
And that's not even including a ton of stuff. Where's the investigation into that assassination attempt that just ticked his ear? It just bled for a second, then dried right up. He just popped up. Fight, fight, fight. People are like, well, it had to be real. Someone in the crowd died. No, they can shoot someone in the crowd. That's no problem. They don't mind doing that at all. Just look at 9/11, which hasn't been looked into either. That should be added into, why hasn't that been looked into? How did 3 buildings fall by being hit by 2 planes? It's obviously a CIA Mossad operation. No investigations in any of it. Alex Zek, who's spoken at Acapulco, said, "What made you think that the guy who didn't drain the swamp, didn't arrest Hillary, nominated current Pfizer board member Scott Gottlieb as FDA Fear and Death Administration commissioner, banned bump stocks, signed the CARES Act, which resulted in the largest transfer of wealth to the 1% in recorded history, recommended lockdowns multiple times, thinks Epstein killed himself, didn't pardon Julian Assange but instead indicted him, gave Fraudzy a medal before leaving office, initiated Operation Warp Speed, praised the use of ventilators, encouraged his followers to get the lethal injection, and repeatedly referred to the lethal injection as one of the greatest recent inventions, was going to be any different this time." So I think at this point we can kind of say case closed, right? The EU, which Ursula von der Leyen is the president or prime minister, I don't know what they call that one, but no one votes for it. She's just there. And here she is wearing her magic robe, saying that the EU has the same values as the Talmud.
Europe is the values of the Talmud. The Jewish sense of personal responsibility, of justice, and of solidarity.
Drawn from the archive.org English edition of the Talmud on page 6822 and 6833, it explicitly states that the Jewish man who sodomizes a boy under 9 years old faces no legal punishment, treating such acts as inconsequential. Similarly, on page 3676, under Kethoboth 11b, declares that intercourse with a girl under 3 is nothing, implying no sin or consequence.
Yeah, the Talmud, which is like books and books about how you, if you're not Jewish, you're an animal, they can lie to you, they can steal you, they can enslave you, they can kill you. That's the values of the European Union now.
What if I told you that the news is doing something that you are not aware of? What if I told you that the 24/7 news cycle is a ritual, a repeated emotional experience that keeps you stuck in a loop of fear, guilt, and control? Instead of truly reporting on what's happening in the world, the news is shaping how we see the world. You know, when the devil deceived Eve, he used the truth to lie and manipulate her. He twisted the truth in such a way that it wasn't what he said to her, it was what he didn't say to her. For example, he didn't lie when he told Eve that she wouldn't die, but he did lie because eventually, after some time, she did die. Do you see how that works? You know, there is a quote or slogan of the ruling party in the book 1984 by George Orwell. Now, Winston's job involved altering historical records so that the official past always aligned with the party's current narrative. If the party says Oceania was at war with East Asia, then all the records are changed to show that, even if that never really happened. So the quote, "Who controls the present controls the past," means that those in power can manipulate or erase historical facts to serve their agenda. And "who controls the past controls the future" means if you can dictate what people remember or believe about the past, you can control their expectations, their beliefs and actions moving forward. The quote shows how the news cycle rewrites context. It reframes events, and it focuses on certain narratives to control your perception. They control your perception of what's happening now and what happened yesterday. And the reason they do this is because it makes you question whether you ever truly knew the real story in the first place. People will believe what the media tells them to believe. It shows how people weaponize information and people's memory so that they can maintain control. The media and official institutions become tools of propaganda. So they're not just engineering fake stories, folks. They're engineering reality.